So we are going to kick this off. This is the first of what may be many series of Real Marriage, Real Talk with Rhea. Lataya, is the echo bothering you really bad, or is it manageable?
I wonder how I can turn that.
Okay. So I really wanted to have the Johnsons on as my very first guest, mainly because Damien had been fighting inside the man cave forever. So basically, he's been with Tad Wives since day one. And what I love about Damien is that he is always giving us the husband's point of view, the male perspective, and he gives to us in a unfiltered, digestible way. So I definitely wanted to have you guys on. I want to first have you guys introduce yourselves and make sure you put some emphasis on the amount of years that you guys have been there for. So go ahead. I'm going to turn it over to you guys so you can introduce yourselves, and then I'll get into tonight's topic.
Okay. So I'm Damien.
And I'm Jamie. Hey, y'all.
That's her signature greeting for y'all that have joined us for the first time.
From Texas.
From Dallas,
hey,
Texas. So we're Marriage is Real. I know, well, I like to think that we look pretty young, but we've been married over 167,000 hours. Or you can say about almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years in October that we've been married. So
20 years, y'all. 20 years.
Yeah. So it's been a blessing. We actually met the night Tupac died at the club. And so the first time I laid eyes on her, I told my best friend that was with me, I said, that's going to be my wife. And so here we are, over 20 years later, and we're still rocking with it.
Still kicking strong.
All right, perfect. Okay, so before I jump into the topic, so I hear an echo through Facebook. So
let me see.
Can you turn the volume on one of your phones down?
Try that one then.
Jamie, however you're connected through Facebook.
Bob?
We're gonna get it together, y'all.
Is that better?
Is that better? The echo's better?
Is that better?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All righty. So tonight's topic, now I'm just gonna give it to y'all straight, no chaser. So in the private Fad Wives group, there is no topic that gets us chatting more than sex. I'm gonna be honest. Whenever we drop those topics, it goes down. We start getting into it and talking about it and whatever.
Right.
So I really wanted to discuss sex from the standpoint of mentally what it could do to your spouse when you decline. So the life of a wife is beyond hectic, and we got a lot to keep up with. Energy levels are not what they used to be. 35 now, energy levels aren't what they used to be in the 20s. So I really wanted to talk to you guys tonight on the topic of not tonight, honey, what it does to your spouse when you say no to sex.
Right.
So Damien, I'm gonna jump right in.
Okay.
As a man, I got my question.
All right.
What does it do to you, or men in general? What does it do when wifey says not tonight for what feels like no good reason to you?
So I have a very long list. No, no, but seriously, there are a few things that we feel in our minds. You know, men, we're not always the most vocal about our feelings and everything. But the first thing is that it makes us feel rejected. We also feel powerless, unappreciated, unwanted, and unloved. How's that for a start?
All right, so I'm taking all these notes. I'm definitely taking notes. That wise, are y'all taking notes too? So powerless. Tell me a little bit more about that feeling. Like,
so
what does that feel as a man? Powerless, like, stands out to me.
So as men, we're considered the alphas or the dominants in a lot of cases, but basically the person who doesn't want to be intimate is usually the holder of the sex, if that makes sense.
The holder of it.
So we feel powerless that, at the point that, we may come to our wives or proposition our wives about intimacy and she tells us no, we feel powerless because otherwise you might catch a case. So you can't do that.
Yeah. I know, right? Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
So I think that one of the most common things. So I'll be honest, my kids now are 12 and 7.
Okay.
And you know, it goes down a lot more now.
Mm-hmm.
When they were 2 and 7, not so much. So
Right.
Jamie, your kids, you know, I follow you guys on Facebook and I
Right.
love your family. Your kids are a lot older, but like, give me a little more context behind like back when they were younger. So you got older kids now; they're a lot more independent, and they needed you a lot more when they were young kids, and they were a lot more dependent on you as the mom, the nurturer. Do you feel like Damien like emphasized with like your energy being depleted from the demands of keeping up with small kids, and how did y'all maneuver that?
No, I
Because I
didn't.
feel like that's a big.
No.
Y'all heard that?
No.
They still.
But that I have to.
That's
That was a long time ago. But no,
Yep.
he didn't, because I think with us as women, when my kids were smaller, when they were younger, we have a tendency to put on the mommy hat. You know what I'm saying? And we
Yep.
can easily hang up the wifey hat. You know what I'm saying? And that hat will stay in the closet for who knows how long. And when you're having to, you know, go, especially if you're working full time, and then you're having to come home and, you know, chop up the food and bathe the children and get their clothes out for the next day, you're exhausted. And so when you're exhausted like that, you just have a tendency to make, you know, you're not at your best. But even in that, once I put the kids down and they're sleeping in the bedroom, he's still like, okay, now it's my turn. You know what I'm saying? Because you still have duties, your I hate to say duties, but your duties as a wife, because he still has needs too. But when you're tired and you run down, you're not thinking about like, you because you're in your mind, it's like you're grown. You're an adult, so you should be able to maneuver through this, me saying no. But he at that particular time, no, he wasn't empathetic, but we did have to, we were able to work through it, because I think there was a misconception, there was a misunderstanding of me not asking him for help, because I took on the responsibility of mommy, like these my kids, and the fact that he wasn't offering to help me, in my mind, oh, you don't want to do nothing? Okay, then that's fine. I got it, because I'm mama. But in his mind, he was like, well, to me, you're all happy-go-lucky, and you doing all this with the kids. This seems like something that you want to do, and I don't want to take that away from you. But we both were misunderstanding each other, because I could have just asked, and he could have just offered.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Y'all, did y'all hear that? Like, that is so key, because I'm definitely guilty. Like, you feel like I'm doing this all by myself, and meanwhile your husband's looking like this is the highlight of her day.
Exactly.
Everybody. And you like, when is he gonna get in the trenches and realize I'm going through? When is he gonna come in and step in and help? So Damien, from your perspective, going through those motions when they were young, and then, you know, Jamie does all this all day for the kids and work and all this other stuff, and then at the end of the day, when you trying to rub, then she's like, I'm tired. What's going through your mind at that moment? Outside of like feeling powerless, did you make the connection like she's tired from the kids and maybe I should jump in a little more? Or do men think like that? Is it really like that's the highlight of her day and she's just ignoring me?
You know, so we have a tendency of being able to compartmentalize things. And so when I knew that she was doing that, and I saw the joy that she got from being with the kids.
Joy.
Yeah, because she was always smiling and always happy.
But you got to put on a happy face as a mom. You know what I'm saying? So he thinking this joy, but we just trying to be good mothers. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, exactly.
But I thought that that's what she wanted to do. I thought that was part of the, you know, the mommy experience. But I'm like, you know, I could probably try to help her. You know, one thing I did used to do is I used to cook most of the time, like 70 to 80% of the time I cooked, because, you know, at a point when she started telling me what was going on, I would try to say, okay, well, let me step in and try to take something off of her plate so that can create an opportunity or create some time for us to have intimacy.
Right.
So let me
I started verbalizing it to him.
Yes. So let me ask you candidly,
Mhm.
was that the incentive? So when you saw like, okay, when I cook a little more and I help a little more, she is, replenished and she's able to give me a little more. Was that kind of the incentive? Like, can we use that as a motivator? Is what I'm asking.
I'm gonna keep it real. As a man, yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Because at the end of the day, we're pretty simple. And so if we know, and this is what we talk about all the time, if you know your spouse has goodwill towards you and they love you and you guys are working it together, if I know that if I chip in and I do my part, that this is gonna create opportunity for us to be together, then yeah, I'm all with that.
Right.
Yeah. You hear that, ladies? So we don't even have to nag no more. Make that correlation. Make that correlation. When you got energy and you put it down that night, be like, oh, I had so much energy tonight. And you were such a help. So make the correlation, y'all.
Right.
So, Damien, so there are, a lot of wives who are just, struggling. And hey, that's my hubby. Hey, hubby. Hey, Trav.
Hi.
What's up, Travis?
I didn't talk about him. I didn't get his permission to talk about him tonight, so I gotta censor what I say a little bit. I didn't expect him to join. He's supposed to be at the gym. So there are a lot of wives who are going through, a lot of just struggles, adjusting to life as a wife, life with kids. So what can a wife do if her husband never just doesn't make that connection? Like she's trying to make it connect that she's exhausted and she needs help. Maybe she is verbalizing that. What do you feel like a wife could do if she's just like too exhausted to have sex some nights? Maybe she really wants to, but she just can't get back her mojo. Like what do you, either one of you guys can answer that. Like, what do you guys feel like a wife can really do to get through to her husband? And you know what? I don't want to assume that it's just the wives that are saying no, because maybe some of the husbands are saying, y'all got y'all kids popping in?
Yep.
I'm like, get out.
She don't want to hear what's next.
Maybe it's not common, but maybe the husbands are saying they're too exhausted. Y'all out here doing work too. So what can a spouse do? I'll rephrase that. What can a spouse do to really get through to their spouse? Like, look, I need you in the trenches with me. I need help. I'm exhausted, and really try to make that correlation without nagging.
So I think the main thing is clear communication, from my perspective. Clear communication, overly communicate, because the worst thing to do with this is to assume. And you think that, okay, well, he should know that I'm tired. He should know that I've had a long day. He should know all of this stuff. And he doesn't, and he may not know, because in his mind, he's thinking, okay, well, I've been at work all day. I'm tired. But in my mind, I'm thinking, because I know the benefits it has for me of stress relief, like I'm doing you a favor too, because if you tired and it's been a long, hey, let's get stress free together. You know what I'm saying? and the biggest thing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, and I was gonna also say, don't hold him hostage for something that he doesn't know.
Right.
If he doesn't know, if he doesn't know, if you haven't told him that in plain term, we like plain. Steak and potatoes, plain. then you can't hold him hostage about that. And then also in the times when you're not there, you have to make sure you're acknowledging that you know that this is one of his core needs and his feelings about it are important. It's sometimes in life, you're not going to always hear yes. But in the no, an explanation with the no, like, you know what? I know that this is important to you. I know that it's something that needs to happen, but right now I can't, or I'm not with it, or whatever the case may be. And then you follow that up with, okay, if it's not today, if it's not right now, then we're gonna say tomorrow.
Right.
We're gonna put this on the books for tomorrow, and then that gives number one, that gives him something to look forward to, but that also gives you as the wife time to prepare yourself for, okay, now I've got, instead of 30 minutes. I got 24 hours to prepare for this.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep. So y'all, now we getting into scheduling sex. Remember, that was a hot topic in our private Facebook group.
Right.
And it's not about, you know, on Sunday getting out the calendar and saying, okay, honey, it's going down on Tuesday, Thursday. It's just about mentally scheduling it. So it sounds like y'all do agree with that. And my girl Q is saying, and don't back out, because that is a good point. Sometimes you schedule it and you start building anticipation. You start sending sexy text messages to your husband. And then at the end of the night, then you want to be like, oh, I'm too tired. I know what I said. Right. So y'all believe in scheduling sex mentally?
Michael.
It sounds like,
right?
Go in the room.
Okay. Now, I saw some questions that came up.
While you're pulling that question up, can I say one quick thing?
Yes.
Okay. So another thing to keep in mind is if you're saying no, there are always, we appreciate sexuality, sexualness. So if it's not necessarily intercourse, there are other things that you can do in lieu of, like, okay, you're not going to do that, but how about this? And I have examples if you need those, but I'm just saying.
Okay, let's get some examples going.
There are other things that you can do in lieu of that. So I just want to throw that out there as well.
I think we follow.
So I'm buffering on Instagram. Can y'all still hear me on Facebook?
I can still hear you on Facebook, but our Instagram.
Hold on, tell him we coming.
We coming back. He's restarting it now.
Okay.
Let's see.
So let me see what the comments are on Facebook. If you guys posted a comment, or if you had a question for the Johnsons, if you could post that again so that we can get to them. We definitely want to make sure that you guys get what you need out of this. Okay, so I'm lost on, I think I'm lost on Instagram.
Facebook is kind of shoddy too, but it's still, we still here. It's checking the connection.
Okay, we're coming back live now. We're back on
Instagram.
Okay, perfect. Let me go ahead and request to join back. Okay, perfect. Let me go ahead and request to join back. All righty. Okay, hold tight, Facebook. I saw in a marriage group where a man said he and his wife agreed, promised not to reject each other. To reject each other when it came to sex, and I thought it was a little bizarre. I mean, is that reasonable? Like, whenever someone else wants it, is that even reasonable? And you guys can comment too on that. What do you guys think, Johnson's? Like, I think that I have definitely seen people do that, where no matter what, if one person wants it, they made an agreement that the other person will never reject that.
Right.
I'm not. That's reasonable for me. Just thinking about the way my mood is set up,
real talk,
the way my levels are set up sometimes. But I guess if that's an agreement that you guys came into as a couple, then that's your thing.
Right.
But speaking of like day to day and like real life, like, is that really feasible, or is that something that maybe people do when they're still in the honeymoon phase, before kids, or newlyweds, or even before they got married?
I think it just depends on the couple. I think it's on a case by case basis.
That's on each individual.
There's no blanket answer to that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, if you think about probably our grandparents and stuff, they were cut from a different cloth, and it's like, you don't tell your husband no about nothing at all. And it, you know, it's not like that for everybody. So I think one of our sayings we always have is, do y'all. Whatever works for you. If that's the agreement that y'all have, y'all rock with that. But if not, the thing about marriage is that you have to stay solution minded. You can't just say, I don't want to, or this isn't what it is. What's the solution? What's the compromise? Where are we going to meet with this particular issue so that we can continue to flow? What were we saying last night when we were in the car? Remember?
About what? About what in particular?
We said nobody gets a pass.
Oh yeah, Nobody gets a pass. Nope. That's real.
So Damien, before we cut off on Instagram, you mentioned examples, and one of the wives in the private group brought that back up, and I want to go down that route. if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind.
Because I think that
he don't mind.
wives just think that you know, like intimacy for a husband, like intimacy for women, we're very emotional. So we know that a lot of it is mental. But I think that a lot of wives may feel like for the husband, if it's not physical, then it's not satisfying to them or it's not enough. So maybe you could go through some of the examples to share with the community.
Yeah, my examples are physical.
All of them. All of them.
Hey, you want to know this how it go down in the man cave?
It's all physical, ladies. That's what they want. But look, Damien, I think that a couple of weeks ago when you guys were touching on the 5 love languages, and you guys put that in a way that I hadn't heard it before, and
awesome.
It was so relatable. Your love language is physical touch, right?
Right.
Was that
Absolutely.
that was yours? Yeah. That's my husband's. So I'm wondering, is that a man thing? Like, are all y'all love languages?
No, I don't agree. No, I don't think so, because his is also one of his top ones too. Is words of affirmation. Like, he likes to, you know, be appreciated, and for you to say, you know, I appreciate. I noticed that you did this. And relative to physical touch, it's not always sexual. It could just be you grabbing his arm, or if he's laying on the couch, you coming over and just give him a little, you know, back rub. But most of us think physical touch is sex, but in the relative to what he was talking about just then, he was speaking about.
I'm talking about. I mean, it depends on how y'all flow. But
in lieu of actual intercourse, you can do these things.
Right. Listen, because I'm gonna just tell you, we just appreciate effort. It's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do this, but I know you might need a release. And so let me help you in another way. And there are other ways that you can do that. And it's like, oh, okay, so she's saying no, but she's at least thinking about me and saying, okay, this is what it is. Let's go this route. And thank you. I appreciate that, you know?
Now, how important is it to a man, specifically a husband, that every now and then his wife is the initiator of sex?
I think it's very important because, you know, depending on the time that you've been married, sometimes, you know, when we get happy, we get bigger. If you're not going to the gym or something like that. So, you know, in your mind, you may think, well, I don't have a 6-pack anymore. And so we might think that you're not sexually attracted to us anymore. You know what I'm saying?
This is stuff that men don't say because they will be perceived as weak or soft. But they have insecurity issues about their body image as well.
Yeah. I don't want to stop eating, but I want you to still think I'm sexy. You know?
Okay, well, that's good to know. So I didn't think that was a high need for men to be desired, but ladies, we learning something new. I could definitely see that for sure, and I could see where, you know, when we don't feel like we're desired, or you know how we get, Jamie, where we like, how I look today.
Yep.
You like this song?
Absolutely.
So y'all feel the same way. So we need to go ahead and stroke y'all ego and give y'all compliments too, right?
Yeah.
And let me just throw this in there too. Did y'all know that sex is our ultimate expression of love?
Wait, what is it?
I said that sex is our ultimate expression of love.
Y'all hear that?
So it ain't just about. So y'all telling us y'all don't love us? No, but seriously, that's our ultimate expression of love. You may not hear a lot of guys say that, but it's the truth, because that's how we connect. That's how we connect more than anything. And with that, and you know, I know how it. She said, "Man, it's so dramatic." The Lord. But the thing about it is, I know that it's important for us to communicate with our wives. That's very important to you guys. But when we feel that love, that gives us full license to be more open, because it's like, you know, you're willing to give of yourself for me. So that means that I can feel more comfortable about letting my guard down with you. Right. Because even in marriage, a lot of people still have their guards up, and they still haven't given themselves completely to their spouses. So that lets us know that you are really in with us.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna have to ask you, for the wives who are really struggling. with the 2-year-old and the 2-month-old. What can we do to make you guys not take that so personal and to just bear with us in that season? Because I mean, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I went through that season. My daughter was turned up. I'm sure y'all see her on my Insta stories. She's always been like that. And I had another little one, and I was just depleted at the end of the day. I did eventually learn the art of scheduling sex, and it took me a long time to really grasp the concept of asking for help and accepting it in a way that I could be comfortable with it without it being in accordance with how I would do it.
Right.
So that's a big thing too. But what can a wife do to, because I'll be honest, there might be some wives that is just like, I want to so bad, but I just cannot. Like, I can't find the energy. I'm depleted. Who knows? Maybe they're suffering from some sort of postpartum depression or depression in general. Just life can kind of get to you. How can we, communication, of course, maybe how can we verbalize, like, I love you. I don't want you to take this personal. I don't want you to feel like this is not something, this is me not loving you. How can we make sure that our husbands aren't taking it personal and make sure that we keep our marriage intact, because sex is important. Or is it even possible?
I think the biggest thing again is, like you said, you ask for help. You know, don't make any assumptions. And you know, the main thing is he needs to know your truth. You know, if it's a thing, because you know, we've been together a long time, and there have been times where things have gotten, you know, we've had our issues in that area as well. And so, but when she communicated to me that she was willing, but for lack of a better term, unable, then that gave me another level of compassion and empathy for her. And then I said, okay, well, what can I do? How can I help? And I think, just like I said earlier, when you know that your husband truly loves you and he has goodwill towards you, he's not going to do anything to hurt you. But if you're not communicating that to him, he just may not know. And he may think, okay, well, she's just saying no again like she always do. But if you're not saying, honey, you know, I want to, but I may be having an issue here, or it could be health related, or whatever the case may be. But if you're not letting him know, because that was one of the issues we were having, is that I didn't know, because she wasn't telling me what she was dealing with. I just thought she was telling me no. So I'm like, well, what is it, me? Am I not bathing? Am I too ashy? Am I not bathing enough? I mean, what's the deal? You know what I'm saying? And once she communicated that to me and said, hey, I'm dealing with something right now. I need you to understand and support me, because the thing about it in marriage is all about reciprocity. And as long as you know that there's going to be a day that you're going to need that same compassion and that same understanding in another situation, you got to be able to give exactly what you want to get.
Yeah, y'all hear that? This is so good. Like, this is so good. Communication, it always comes back to communication. Is the key.
Always.
It really does. So Earth, you asked how long. They have been married for 20 years. Yes. And yes, y'all, you said earlier something about whether you still look young. Yes, you do. So yes, they've been married since they were 15 years old. Do y'all have any other questions? I mean, I think that this is so good. Like, a lot of times we have to really learn how to be vulnerable and just have that heart to heart. I think that sometimes we're afraid to do that because we, to an extent, are afraid that our feelings will get hurt if you basically say or give us the impression that maybe you don't care as much as we feel like you should care. And sometimes we have difficulty verbalizing that because we're not really sure what's going on. Like, there are some times where you plan on, okay, tonight's the night. You schedule it in your head, and then you get to that point when it's just like,
I'm done.
Oh, dang, it was supposed to go down, but I can't even think about rolling over. I know one thing that I've had to tell my husband is, don't be coming to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking that you're gonna rub. Let's do that at a reasonable hour. So if you gotta be direct with your husband like that and find a compromise, I don't know about y'all, but I get that. My husband likes to watch TV, and then when it's time to turn the lights out, So communication is definitely the key. Somebody on Facebook said, what do you do when your husband does not communicate and consistently rejects? Marianne, are you talking about in general or specifically related to sex?
Marianne.
Mm-hmm.
Who does not communicate and consistently rejects? Yeah, Marianne, are you saying he consistently rejects you as a person, or are you talking about sexually?
Yeah.
Or it's kind of a broad question.
Okay. Quanisha? I know. I think we've talked about that that late night tap in our group before. So definitely, I think that the biggest thing is just not being afraid to be open with your own spouse. Like a lot of times when we go from Miss Independent to Mrs., those types of talks can be difficult, but they're so important. And it's the only way we're gonna get to y'all number of years for sure, because y'all clearly have communication down to a key. Yeah, Earth said hi at the late night.
We try.
So
All
Jamie,
right.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Rhea.
Did y'all want to add anything else before we wrap up tonight's first Real Marriage, Real Talk with Rhea?
Sure. I was just about to say, so Jamie, tell them how things are with us now.
What do you mean? Oh.
I'm putting on blast, y'all.
He is. He really is.
Go ahead.
So this is personal for me, and I ain't, I don't want anybody to feel like they have to try and do this, because it took us, of course, we're here 20 years, but I made the decision, not just a decision, but I committed to myself that whenever he asked me, I was going to say yes. Just like the person said earlier today in the, thing, but don't make no mistake, when your mood is not there, we're at a point now to where he kind of feels my energy. He kind of knows when she just this ain't gonna be a good time to ask. I'm not even going, you give me that look and I just be like, so he won't even ask. But, now I have decided, I have committed to myself, whenever he asks me, I say yes. Even if it's quick, 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, I will put the timer on. I have talked about this before. Literally on my cell phone, you got 2 minutes.
Hey, I make it work.
So Jamie, are y'all coming up on 20 years, or y'all just reached 20 years?
We're coming up in October.
20 in October.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
so 20 years married. How long did it take for you to get to that point where you're like,
girl,
this is important? This is a lot of times it is the biggest. I mean, I promise y'all, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Whenever my husband's walking around the house grumpy, I'm like, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know exactly what's going on.
Yep.
I will be honest. Y'all are so easy. Y'all are so easy. 9 times out of 10, what's bothering you is that.
That's what it is.
That quick.
And then,
So I'm glad that you got to that point. But how long? I've been married for 8 years. I still haven't made that commitment yet.
It took me
How long has it taken?
probably to year, what are we at? 18.
year 17.
But also our kids are much older, so our kids are basically teenagers, so they're a lot more self-sufficient, so we can kind of have a little bit more run of the mill. They can go and do whatever, they make their own food,
Yeah.
cook, so that does open up a little bit more time. It's harder when your kids are younger. When my kids were younger, I cannot say that I could have committed to this, because at the end of the day, you are just exhausted. Like you don't even want to take a shower. You know what I'm saying? That's known.
Yeah.
You're trying to rub. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and not to mention, sometimes the kids are haters, so they want to knock on the door. It's like they got
So
little alarms and or signals or something. As soon as it starts going down, they and start knocking on the door. So not
Right.
to mention that, but I'm glad that you.
Right.
I'm glad that you guys said that, because I do want to make sure that the wives who have small children know that it does get better. You guys see that the Johnsons are at 20 years, and she's at the point where she's like, when he taps, I'm gonna answer. I'm at 8 years, and I'm at the point where it's like, okay, I see the big difference, and I'm available a lot more. So for the people who have the small kids, the babies, the little kids, and you're just depleted, this is just a season.
Right.
Communicate
Exactly.
with your husband.
That's good.
Schedule it. Yeah, find your sexy. Try to find ways to get away and get y'all quality time. Just like Jamie said, quickies, shower time, you know, places where you know that, okay, well, I got a shower, so you might as well come in with me.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it is just a season, and, you know, don't be discouraged, and don't feel like if there's a lack of intimacy right now, then that is the trajectory of what your marriage will be. It is just a season. I'm attesting to that at 8 years, and Jamie is definitely attesting to that at 20 years. And I'm gonna go ahead and try to put that mental note, because I know that my husband will be on cloud 9 if I can commit to that every time. So, and I feel like even with my kids being 12 and 7, they are still haters, but we can make a conscious effort to always make sure that that's going down, because it's so important in marriage. And you guys are so basic. It makes y'all happy. And like you said earlier, reciprocity, you give back a lot more when you're satisfied. That goes for both of us. All right, you guys.
I was just going to say real quick, the funny story about this. The other night, she told me, we just bought some bar stools, right? And I said, so how bad you want me to put these bar stools together? She said, I made my proposition. She accepted. It's about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I got up, put the bar stools together, made her ice cream and everything, just because, you know, hey, you take care of me, I'm gonna take care of you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're easy to please. I'm just saying.
Hey, I got my bar stools.
Y'all hear that, ladies? All right, y'all. All right, well, I want to let you guys know that you can definitely check out Damian Johnson's blog post, Inside the Man Cave, on our website, fabwives.com. He's written some amazing pieces for us, and really allows us to tap inside of his husband's point of view, and just really puts things in ways that we could just digest them and apply them immediately, which I love. Damian and Jamie do a broadcast live on Instagram and Facebook, right? Every Monday.
Marriage Mondays.
Yes, on every Monday night at
7:30 Central.
Oh, Central. So make sure y'all tune in. They are an amazing duo. Both of them, I mean, Damian, you by yourself, you contributing to our blog has been awesome.
Thank you.
But tuning into y'all live, and the way that y'all chemistry and the information that you flow to others is absolutely amazing. So I definitely
ask that
you guys tune in. As transparent as they are tonight, that's not me opening them up. That is who they are. So I'm so happy that you guys have attended and are participating in my first Real Marriage, Real Talk with Rhea. Hopefully, look, I can't commit to doing this all the time. It's a commitment, but I definitely want to bring different people on and have this real talk, and hopefully it makes marriages grow and gets us even more committed to love and marriage, and find ways to connect with our spouses on a more meaningful level. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
And Rhea, I just want to tell you thank you personally, because I remember a few years ago when I didn't even know you, and I had this desire to talk to people about marriage, and you gave me a shot through your platform. And I talk about you and I plug you everywhere I go. And I'm like, I know somebody in North Carolina.
Yes, you do.
But I just appreciate everything
so much.
you've done
We appreciate
for us.
Yes.
Thank you. We do.
We appreciate it so much. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. So we definitely appreciate it. Y'all always plug us. All righty. Well, y'all have a good night. We're going to go ahead and post the replay on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll have it on fabwives.com by tomorrow.
Awesome. Y'all have a good night.
And remember, quickie save marriages.
Yeah. All right.
Y'all hear that? Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.